Welcome to Cataloging Video Recordings. We're going to start off the class by just talking a little bit about an overview of what exactly do we mean when we say video recordings and how do we catalog them. Just a few things to keep in mind when we're working with cataloging these items. According to AACR2, which is the Anglo-American Cataloging Rules, 2nd edition, a video recording is defined as a recording on which visual images, usually in motion and accompanied by sound, have been registered, designed for playback by means of a television set. The thing about the television set is in there to differentiate them from motion pictures, which are on film. This definition could stand to be updated a little bit because we don't only view videos on television sets now. With streaming video and everything, we can watch them on our computers, so that last little phrase is a little bit out of date, but basically this is still a pretty good definition of what we're talking about in this class. What formats do video recordings take? You can see them in a few different formats in your library collection. Video discs are probably, these days, the most common. DVDs, for example, or Blu-rays. That's the other type of disc that's becoming more and more popular, and you probably have them in your collection. You may still see video cassettes, probably VHS, maybe Betamax. These are probably becoming less and less common in your collection, but still may be there. And then, as I mentioned, we have streaming videos, things that are available online via the internet and can be watched on a computer or perhaps a mobile device. So that's another area to take into account when thinking about cataloging video recordings. There are a few different places you can find information on how to catalog video recordings. The main source is AACR2 Chapter 7. This is about video recordings and motion pictures, so this would be where you would start. This chapter, like almost every other chapter in AACR2, will refer you back to Chapter 1, which are the general rules for description. So you'll need to be going back and forth between these two chapters. And you could need to consult other chapters as necessary. For example, if you're working with something that has characteristics of another type of item. For example, if you have a continuing resource that's also a video recording, you might need to consult Chapter 12 for continuing resources. Or, more commonly, if you're working with like streaming videos, you'll also need to consult Chapter 9 for electronic resources, because your item has some properties of that as well. And then, as usual, you would still need to consult Chapters 21 through 25 for working with access points. When you're cataloging a video recording and creating an original record, you need to use the Visual Materials work form. This is how it looks in OCLC Connection if you use that to create your catalog records. One of the record options down there at the very bottom is Visual Materials, so that's what you want to start with. You probably also have an option to select this type of item in your local catalog. This is a screenshot from our catalog here at the Commission. We have a video recording work form to start with. Now you also want to make sure that you select the correct type code for your record. And in this case, for video recordings, you'll be working with type K for two-dimensional non-projectable graphic. And when we say non-projectable, again, we're talking about the difference between these video recordings and a film, for example, that's projected onto a surface. But we're working with non-projectable video items here. The last thing to keep in mind, just kind of a general overview before we start talking about specific fields, is the chief source of information for video recordings. The chief source of information is defined as the item itself, which in this case means ideally the title frames. When you're actually watching the movie, the video recording, what appears on the screen when you're watching it, that is the title, for example, that you should take, or that's the chief source of getting the information for this. Obviously, you're not always able to take the time to watch them, so there are other sort of secondary sources you can use. The container label, like on a video cassette if it had a label, things like that. So other associated things with the item can also be used as well.